You are our strength. Thank you in time that we are wandering away. You're the mighty hand that pulling us back to your love, to your arms, to the safest place that we can hide on. Thank you, Lord. If my heart is overwhelmed and I can't hear your voice, I'll hold on to what is true, though I cannot see. If the storms of life they come and the road ahead gets steep, I will lift this hands in faith. I will believe.
The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. For your faithfulness is like a morning cloud, and like the early dew, it goes away. So God's faithfulness is like the morning. He's saying your faithfulness is like a morning cloud. What does a morning cloud do? What do clouds, any cloud? What do they? They dissipate. This is Israel right now. These are God's children. Therefore, I have hewn them by the prophets. I have slain them by the words of my mouth. And your judgments are like the light that goes forth. For I desire mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of God more than burnt offerings. And you know this part here in verse 5 where it says, I have slain them by the words of my mouth. Pastor Mike talked about this a couple of weeks ago, about these pictures we see of Jesus. And he's effeminate, you know, he's just almost, what's that?
Manicured.
Yes, very manicured, very tidy, soft, almost woman-like, gentle. This is a whole different picture. And I do want us to turn here. I want us to read Revelation 19. We're going to get a whole new picture of this Jesus Christ. He is more than that little baby in the manger. And he is more than the Jesus that we see walking on the hillsides healing people. Nobody knows what Jesus looked like. But this isn't, you know, we have artists' renditions of what he must have looked like. A few artists out there will actually draw the description. How many of you have seen those pictures of Revelation, of the Jesus Christ of Revelation? Whoa. Revelation 19, 13 through 16. And I encourage you to go home and really read that again when you can really think about the words. This is Jesus Christ. And it is a powerful, powerful picture of him that is not a picture that we're used to seeing. He wanted a relationship with his people more than anything else. He didn't want their sacrifice. He wanted them. He doesn't want our sacrifice. He doesn't want our
Works.
yeah, all the good things that we want to do to please him. He doesn't want those. He wants us. He wants our hearts. For I desired mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of God more than burnt offerings.
It's happy that you're on meaning out of them.
And you think that you're
And I know that if you go serve. And they're just going to find other people too.
Me too. I'm not.
I don't know how to say no. I'm not one on service.
There's a difference between having discernment between what's being presented to you and studying, going back home and,
In the word it says.
I like what this group back here said, you know, where he referred to the word being the bread of life. Go ahead, Dory, and tell everybody.
I think we ended up discussing how we get so busy doing and going and serving and yes, that we forget to eat
eat our nourishment.
You do.
I
know.
Yes.
Yes. It's a problem that we all deal with because we're out there being Christians.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
Doing Christian things. Okay, and church, talking about church. So sometimes it can become, we think we're pleasing God by going to church. Now we are, God likes us, He wants us there, He wants us in church. But that is not how we gain His approval for eternal life. And why is it important that He wants us? And then this ties in with 6:6, Hosea 6:6. Why is it that He wants us in church? Why does He tell us in Hebrews to not forsake the assembling of ourselves together?
Spur one another on.
To spur one another on to good works. And it's to get up next to them and rub shoulders. When Georgie didn't show up at church yesterday, I pulled out my phone and texted her, "Where are you?" I miss you. I need your coal. I like running up next to her. So yeah, don't miss church because I'll text you. She answered me too. But we are strengthened by one another.
Alone we're an island.
We are.
And we start believing untruths because
We
we
do.
get our own little, well, this, that, and instead of the meat.
Our minds start doing
Well, and
crazy
you
things.
start having these conversations in your head, well,
Yeah.
if they say this, I'll say this, well, what
Right.
if they, and it's not even happening, it's
Right.
not even, it's the enemy. You
And
know?
the more, you're exactly right, and the more we withdraw from people, the more that battlefield of the mind does battle with us. And all these negative thoughts are coming in, and then the more negative thoughts you have, the less you want to go be with those people.
Yeah, but what I liked about it is that you can talk with someone afterwards of what Pastor said, and this is what I caught, what did you get out of it? Or,
Yes.
Or, well, you and I, we talk about it sometimes,
Yes,
it's like,
we
remember
do.
you said that, and we've got.
Yeah. And it strengthens you, doesn't it?
It does.
So, yeah, we need to be together.
I can't think of the verse, but it says that even as we get closer to the end, we should draw
All
closer.
the more.
Yes.
All the more.
All the more as you see the end drawing near.
We need each other.
We do need each other, ladies. And I commend every single one of you for being here tonight. Because it was cold outside. It's not nearly as cold as it's going to be. But still, it was our first kind of cold day, and here you are. And it's like a coal. I've talked about this before. You take that coal out. When you've got the coals all together, like we are in this room, the fire burns brightly. But when you take one little coal out, let's say Debbie, because she's up front, I'll pick on her. That's what happens. You take the coal of Debbie out and you set her over there, and we're all over here. What's going to happen to poor Debbie over there? She's going to die out, just like that coal. So we desperately need each other, and so God's people were still doing, quote, they didn't call it church, but they were doing church like we do, but there was that emptiness, that relationship was what was missing with one another, fellowship, and with God Himself. They had forsaken mercy. And why had they forsaken mercy? Last week we talked about it. What did they not have? It was in that first verse we looked at. Knowledge. Yes. They had given up knowledge of God. And the first thing to go, of course, is truth and mercy. And mercy. And so God would rather have our hearts full of mercy than the sacrifice of doing good works. All these good things we try to do. He wants us. He says, just stop. Like Dory said earlier, going around doing all this stuff. God says, stop. Just sit with me for a while. take a breath. Just come and sup with me and me with you.